What is up, everyone? My name is Robert Aragon, and I am a student of Danzan-Ryu Jujitsu, also known as Kodenkan Jujitsu. And what we're going to do today is show you a few of our techniques and see how you like them. Let's go.
Before I get too far into the video, I wanted to add a few disclaimers. 1. This video is not a substitute in any way for real training with a good teacher by your side. Videos are great for review and demonstration, but a teacher of some sort is needed to help let you know if you're doing something wrong or if a different approach will work better for you. 2. The techniques shown are also not a substitute for situational awareness. It's better to be aware of your surroundings and to avoid a conflict rather than to have to use these techniques. On a related note, these techniques have been simplified to emphasize a more peaceful resolution to a conflict, since if done incorrectly, the full techniques can cause harm to a training partner. Normally, these techniques will have one or two much more violent responses added to them to make sure the conflict is ended quickly instead, which leads me to my final disclaimer. There are a lot of Danzan-Ryu schools, and each one does things a tad differently. The techniques in this video are what I consider to be the most widely accepted base versions, but some schools may do them differently or add variations. My school, for instance, has variations of some of these techniques to flow better with the teaching style, but the main concepts are the same. All that to say that I do not speak for the whole of the Danzan-Ryu community, and that some of these techniques in various schools will be different. I'll also be giving some more context and details through voiceover, since I thought it'd be a good idea not to have a script when filming, which led me to forget some things. So, without further ado, let's get into the video.
Today I'm joined with my senpai and very good training partner, Mac. He's going to assist me with showing you all these techniques, and so let's get right into it. The first technique we'll be showing you is called Katate Fuzushi Ichi, or just wrist grip release number 1. We'll start off with him grabbing my right wrist with his left arm. This is the same side wrist grip release. It's also known as. So go ahead and grab. What we're going to do is very simply push down a little bit. That'll torque our wrist, and so the narrow part of our wrist will be going against his thumb right here. I'll take this up and be able to show that a bit better maybe. From here, all you're going to do is step to the side or diagonal, whichever one works for if you had any training, maybe diagonal if you're doing Muay Thai, this maybe a bit more if you're doing karate. Right there, and we're just going to put our elbow to his forearm. So now, I want you to grip pretty hard on me, okay? I want to see a bit of red on my wrist after I'm done, okay? So, what we're going to do, this can be done slowly, quickly, either way. You see that because of the torque that's coming from me just pushing into this area right here, it's very hard for him to have me grip with just these fingers, especially if there's a gap here already. This is also very useful if, come over here a bit, if he is pulling me and he's actually trying to really control me. So do a couple jerks like you're about to punch me or something like that. I do the same exact motion, and it's just like when you play tug of war and you let go of the rope. You just go with it, turn in, and you'll pop out. Best part about that is, if we'll turn around, as I do that, and I've come in, he tries to punch me, it's a lot harder. Even if he does go straight for me, he's able to turn into me, it's a lot easier for me to get in here and be able to do a throw or a choke or transition into something else. But if you're not the fighting type and you just want to escape and do it peacefully, you just have to do the same thing and push away, create some space, and that's the basic technique.
Alright, so close up, what this looks like is this. He's grabbed me right here. I'm going to shoot my hand down and try to put my palm towards myself. What that does, you can see right here, the thinner part of my wrist as opposed to this one. Yeah, let go, there you go. As opposed to this one is now this one. It's a lot easier to slip out now because you have a narrower space to be able to come out. From this point, I'm just going to act like there's a nail driving between my wrist and his thumb, and I'm just going to pivot around that nail. Pivot, 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 as I push my elbow to his forearm. If he really grips on, really grips hard, I can still do it at the same speed because it's all just about torque and leverage.
Next, we're going to do Katate Fuzushi Knee, or wrist grip release number 2, also known as the cross wrist grip release. So, as the name implies, he's going to reach across this time. And we can do the same exact motion, just a little bit different. So, what we can do is pop our elbow to our side. We want to do this in case he's trying to pull us in and or try to strike us. Like if he's coming in like that, we're not in a great position. He can just do a nice hook to us or an uppercut, or just grab us. So we want to plaster up, try to get our palm facing the sky. Same reason as the first technique, where this is getting the narrow part of my wrist in between this gap between his fingers. That'll be easier to come out that way. So, all we're going to do, same technique, elbow to the forearm, but going this way, like that. And now we have that position once again to grab, push, or strike if we wish. And just as before, if he's pulling me and he's trying to rear up for a punch, just come in like that. You can always make sure you want to cover in case you do something wrong, or if you trip, you always want to make sure that you have some sort of cover up and come in and from here, push away, and do whatever you need to do.
All right, so right here, same thing. I'm going to pop up, elbow to our side, pop our wrist, or our hand rather, up to the sky. Same reason as before, put that narrow part of my wrist against his thumb and forefingers. And from here, I'm just going to pivot like I did before. Let's get a better angle on that, there we go. Pivot as before, right there. Now really grab on, really, there you go. And it's just as easy as that.
All right, next up is going to be Ryote Hazushi. We're going to have two hands, one on each arm. So first off, if someone is doing this, they're trying to restrain you, they're trying to push you down or something like that. So as soon as you feel this on your wrist, you want to immediately put your elbows together to your side. Putting your elbows here will make sure they're as strong as they can be. Even if someone's much stronger than you, it should give you some leeway and some more advantage.
In other words, bringing your elbows in helps create a stronger base to deny your opponent control and will hopefully stretch them out so that their grip is then weaker.
As soon as he grabs, bop. What I'm doing here is I believe it's called a gable grip. Just make a cross with your hands, clasp it down. Very strong grip, hard to pull out of. So, as soon as I feel that pressure on my wrist, he's grabbing them, clasp together. From here, I'm just going to push my hips in using my body instead of my arm strength. Pull up a little bit, as far as we can, and then curl my wrist over. Curl over and take a step and stomp down as I push down. What this does is it puts his wrists in a bind where he doesn't have much strength. Right here, really grip on. Right there. And I didn't even have to use very much strength at all. Yep, there you go. Red, he was actually gripping. As soon as I feel him grab, clasp together, pull up as far as I can, rocking my hips forward, using my hips instead of my arm strength. And then curl over. Either way will work, whichever is more comfortable for you in the moment. Right there, and then push down and stomp.
The reason you stomp is so that you're dropping your weight down rather than just using your arm strength alone. This is important if someone stronger than you is gripping you. With your arms close to your body, you can use gravity instead of strength. This will, however, show parts of your back, so you want to make sure to turn to face your opponent as quickly as possible once the grip is released.
As soon as I feel it, up and down. Next one we're going to do is called Momiji Hazushi. This is the front choke release. It's called Momiji because when you're choking someone, it looks like a little maple leaf. A little macaque humor in there, I love it. So, I'm going to go and choke. And he's going to make sure to go in for a real choke here, like that's actually constricting my carotid or my windpipe, either one. And because you always want to train the way it's going to happen. You don't want to like have someone just doing this right here. It's like, why would I escape from this? I'll just hit you. There's no real danger here. But just like with all the other escapes that we've done so far, as soon as you feel it coming on, you want to immediately try and escape from it As soon as someone sinks in, they're able to control you more, especially with the choke. They're gonna push you off balance. They're gonna just straight asphyxiate you. As soon as I feel this coming on, what I'm going to do is put my hands together in a prayer formation or a pyramid. I'm going to step. I'm going to try and brace myself so that if he's like trying to choke me, like most people, if they're trying to choke you, they're trying to kill you. They're in the throes of anger. They're trying to throttle you. So I'm going to brace myself as soon as I feel this come on into a pyramid. Step up and forward as far as you can. And then as soon as you're here, you're just going to drop down, sink your knees down, and pull down like that. This is mostly just to unbalance him. It can cause a bit of whiplash, but it's mostly to push him off balance and to clear those arms out of the way. Because if I'm right here and I've just cleared this, and I just sit here, he's just going to grab me, and I'm going to be in worse position as before almost. So once more, right there. Up.
Once again, you aren't using your arm strength for this. You aren't pushing the hands off your throat with your arms. You're using your arms as a wedge and thrusting forward with your body, reaching as high as you can, then immediately stepping back and clearing the arms as you drop down. If you have some grappling training or experience in the clinch, you could also use this as an opening for a throw or a tie clinch instead of clearing the arms.
And clear as I step back and drop my weight. Next, we're going to use what's called kata eri hazushi, or a single lapel grip release. What he's going to do, other side, there we go. He's grabbing right here. He's trying to do a hockey punch or something and go in for that. From right here, technically he's out an arm, but if he's throttling me, he's really moving like someone in anger and doing in the middle of a fight would. Like, go ahead, you're really going for it. It's not, you can't punch very easily. He's got the control of your body at this point. This is a very useful technique for winter months and fall, because what are you wearing during winter and fall? A sweater. He grabs right here. What we're going to do is pop down, just so you can see, I'm grabbing my own lapel here, pulling down, and the same as all the other techniques, as soon as you feel someone do this, you want to pop this down, grab your own shirt. Now that you're grabbing your own shirt or sweater, you're not able to defend from that punch anymore. So what you have to do is immediately get out of the line, get out of where he's going to be able to punch you. You want to step to the side and using this kind of motion with your hand, pop up into the wrist, turn, come over here, turn, and push down. The same as before, using that gravity, using your weight against it. So let's do that one more time. Grab. There, he's trying to go in for a punch. There, just for clarification, so you can see better. Up, and you see I'm turning a little bit as I'm pushing down. What we're going to do here, he's grabbed me. I want to grab right here, pull down, and my hand in this motion, in this shape, and cup his wrist right here. Right here. Very nice and weak part of his wrist right there. Pop her in, move to the side to avoid any kind of punches that may be flying in. Turn it if I can, and push down. Just to demonstrate this can be used with a sweater, not just one of our real stiff gis here, I'm going to sacrifice this sweater for you guys. I say sacrifice because it's a very large possibility doing this technique will stretch it out. But I'd rather have a stretched out sweater than a black eye. So if he grabs right there, pull down, create this tension right here. This is what creates this base. Otherwise, if I'm just doing this, he's going to be walking all around, especially with the stretchy sweater. Pull down, create that base, pop in, and pull down. One more time. Down, spin, and down. One more time, which is trying to really pull me and throttle me, basically. So, of course, it does look a bit more messy when he's being more serious, but it still works. Okay, so finally we're going to be showing our Kubinuki Shime's or headlock escapes. He's going to get me into a headlock. We have 3 of these. One for when he's up right here, one for he's down low, and one where he's even lower. This happens far too often in real fights. You see videos of this all the time. Someone's punchy, and then they just instinctually get into this position right here. Sorry. So, this is a very useful one because you've messed up a little bit, but we can turn it around for you. Let's see what happens. He goes right there, gets me into this headlock. First, I want to make sure my base is low. I do not want him to be high like this and try to muscle out of it, because as soon as I straighten my legs, he can just go ahead and whip me around and just take me to the ground. I want to make sure my base is strong, and what I'm going to do is, with my left hand in this position, otherwise it'd be reversed in the other, left hand, I'm going to reach as high as I can and put the blade of my hand up against his chin or his upper lip and his nose area, and I'm going to push and pull down this way. From here, you can use whatever technique you want to escape. And the movement I'm doing is simply here, I'm reaching down like this. It's going to stretch out his neck. Putting pressure right here is also very painful, and push him down and push him away. If he's especially strong, of course, you can go ahead. You can go ahead and use 2 hands if you need, or pull with this out. I prefer to pull with this out, that way I have control of this wrist so I can come out and have better control. Even if you can't reach just right and you can't get this out all the way, you have a bit more space now. You can push out this way if you need to, rip out this, grab fingers. He can't see you, he's not able to be as aggressive with this. Next is for when you got into this headlock and they pulled you down a bit further. Now you can't really reach over, he's bent over, it's a lot harder to get to this area for that first technique. So in this case, what we're going to do instead, I'm going to grab right here, I'm going to try and, if I can reach, try and strike whatever I can, try and create so that he has a weaker base than me. I want to be nice and strong here. If I strike the legs, push away hips, all these things, it'll weaken him and it'll make it easier to do whatever I'm doing here. So what I'm going to do, strike, push, grab the flat of his wrist right here. I'm going to dig, over here. I'm going to dig my fingers into his belt. Most people just wear jeans now. Don't be afraid. You're in a headlock. There's no rules or courtesy right here. Just dig it in. Grab, dig your knuckles in, push those hips forward, and twist. Over here again. And you're twisting this as you pull out and pushing up. Now, what this does is, while you're twisting and pushing up, if you try to move your arm, try to pull into me, it's very hard for him to do so. He's in a very weakened position because of where his wrist is. I'm going to pull out, push in, pull my head out, and you see the hammerlock. So you don't need to use the hammerlock, but this is where you eventually just end up naturally. You can't just push away at this point as well. Now, he's bent me over even further. This is not a good position for us. What we're going to make sure to do is not lose our balance. Right now it's very easy to do so. What we instead want to do is, again, make sure our base is lower than his, and what we're going to do first is push right here onto the top of the knee. We're not trying to injure anything right now. What we're mostly trying to do is buckle that a little bit. Make sure his base isn't very strong.
I'm striking with a variation of shuto, aiming for the side of the leg just above the kneecap and dropping my weight with it to gain more power and buckle the knee inward as I push down.
As we do that, we're gonna step in as hard as we can. Right here, he has a lot of strength and leverage over us, so we need to make sure we use all of our power that we can. There. From here, I'm now just going to boom, 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 boom. I'm going to strike in to the groin with this part of my hand, chopping in between the legs.
A point to keep in mind is that despite what popular media will say, groin strikes do not end a fight instantly. They can be unpleasant, but during a fight with adrenaline running, that pain is often shrugged off. As such, this part is optional, but can be used as a distraction that may make an opponent let go. If they don't let go, then that's what this next part is for.
Right here, he's grabbing onto me. I've come in, done what I can here. Now what I'm going to do is try to reach up as far as I can onto his shirt, his collar, anything like that. I'm going to try and avoid his hair right here, his magnificent ponytail right there. And I'm going to pop my left leg out in this position. Otherwise, reverse, it would be my right leg. Pop out.
The position I'm referring to looks like this. It's similar to what we call our side fall position.
And pull him down. Now, in this position, you can grab his wrist, same as the second technique, flatter the wrist if you can, and I'm going to curl it, pull up and push him with my arm that should be underneath him already from him falling, and then keep pushing, pushing, pushing. Keep close. If you have space here, you can roll back into me. So, right here, you keep that space close, and just keep turning, turning, turning. From here, you have your locks or other positions if you want to do that. But you can also simply walk away. Now, from the position he's in right now, it's actually pretty hard for him to be able to come back at me and attack me again. I'm at his head, he has to turn all the way around just to be able to face me again.
I should say that he can't effectively attack me. He could, of course, roll onto his belly and stand up that way, but then his head is open for you to simply kick or stomp on.
So from here, and push off and make my exit.
And that's all the techniques I have for you today. Like I said earlier, these techniques have been neutered for the sake of simplicity and so that they can't be used maliciously. But if you want the full versions, you can find your local Danzan-Ryu dojo by going to a list of dojos on danzan.com, linked in the description below. And if you're in West Texas, come stop by our dojo, West Texas Kodenkan. We're certified with the American Jiu-Jitsu Institute, and we promise not to hurt you. Too bad.